As you know, nationally across the country, the big thing right now is Elon Musk, DOGE, finding the waste, cutting the waste, looking for the fat, and completely overhauling our departments in the entire country in order to find efficiency, right? The Department of Government Efficiency, and it's been really wild to watch that. And of course, here that the word DOGE, the whole concept behind it, has been used in various formats throughout the state, and people thinking that they're doing DOGE here and DOGE there, and in some cases they are, and we're really excited to see people jump aboard that and really take it to task. But our guest this morning has an article up at Breitbart. If we just bring that article up here, has an article up at Breitbart.com. It's from Cliff Maloney saying, "We need a DOGE in every state." Cliff Maloney joins us now. He's CEO of Citizens Alliance, which obviously is a partner with me here in Citizens Alliance of Idaho. He's also the founder of the PA Chase and taking on this challenge to the states on this DOGE thing. Good morning, Cliff. Thanks for joining us. Walk us through your article. Let me know what your challenge is here.
Yeah, well, Matt, as always, appreciate you guys having me. Look, I think I've always been focused on state level policy. I think for a while, it was tough to get people excited about state level policy because most people are watching the news and they're watching even alternative media, and everybody's talking about, aside from Idaho Signal, everybody's talking about Congress, right? Everybody's talking about the White House. And so it becomes, you kind of get inundated with these federal races. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's your state house and your state Senate and your local, county offices and city offices that are really going to decide if you're a free man or not. And so I've always been on this battle for us to focus more locally. And, obviously 2020 changed a lot of things. Number one, COVID. A lot of people said, holy heck, the only good states to live in were the ones that had strong conservative states pushing back on the corrupt federal government and all the overreach, the masks, the shutdowns, the lockdowns. And then obviously certifying the election in 2020. People said, wait, who certifies the election? It's the states that actually do that. So people got more interested. Well, I see DOGE as this opportunity for people to be paying attention federally, but we need to have a trickle down to the states on this, right? And obviously the Overton window of what is an allowable opinion or what's an allowable action by a politician, I just see no better opportunity now than for politicians at the state level to take what has happened at the federal level and what is happening and try to apply that to find the waste, fraud, and abuse, to abolish some of these departments, and my gosh, maybe even cut spending when it comes to real dollars year over year. I just think the appetite's there, and we've got the mandate from the people through the election.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The sentiment is with it. The people are with this whole idea. And so, but can you square this up for me a little bit? Because the federal government is generally dealing with billions and billions of dollars, sometimes trillions of dollars, obviously, whereas the states can be anywhere in the billions to sometimes just under $1 billion or whatever it is, depending upon how much. Some states do run lean, even though there's still some fat. So when I think about a state like Idaho, where we're not really talking about hundreds of billions of dollars, even just identifying things that are in the $100,000 or $1 million, like that's enough that can have a huge impact on the people, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're talking about a family income in a household of $60,000 to $80,000. If you can find something that's $100,000 to cut, that's why I think a lot of this stuff with Elon has been pretty genius, because even if it's $1 million that goes to, Siberia to test out whether, monkeys get high off cocaine or some crazy stuff, it's $1 million, right? And so to any blue collar working class family, that is like, why I would want that money. Why are we giving my money and American money to these just crazy things? So yeah, I think the smaller the stuff is, sometimes it's just about finding anything, because we've gotten to a point where, once again, states have followed the federal lead. And the federal lead is just that this is just a piggy bank. And the money is gravy train to all the lobbyists, all their friends. And I think we need a change in kind of not just perspective, but a change in our attitude. And look, as a diehard liberty lover, I'm probably as happy as I'm ever going to be with what I see as an opportunity for us to actually make change. Will it happen? I sure hope it does. But I think the swamp is powerful, and it's going to be a battle of DOGE versus the swamp, and who can succeed at that. But right now is an opportunity for anybody at the state level to be able to easily capture the attention of their constituents, not just in their district, but their entire state, to say, listen, we need to replicate what they're doing in DC, what Elon is doing. And a lot of conservatives, Matt, you know this, we've been screaming about some of these programs for years. But now we have something that we can say, hey, listen, this is enough. And it's time to roll some of this back. Let's cut some of the income tax. Let's cut the spending. We don't need all these departments. Let's pull a Javier Milei and a flare of these things off the map. And I just think, there's no better time for us to try to do this than right now. But it's about actually leading on this and doing the DOGE at the state level.
Yeah, I love it. I love hearing all of this. Some of the things that are going on in Idaho right now in terms of, tax, like the governor came out and said that he wanted to cut $100 million in taxes, like give $100 million tax cut to the people. And then leadership came over, the legislative leadership came over the board and said, no, actually, we want to do more like 400 million in tax cut relief to the people. So when you see how important it is for the governor to lead on these issues, because he's the one with the biggest bullhorn, right? Like you look in other states, like you see, Ron DeSantis in Florida just really pounding away at like wanting to eliminate property tax. They already don't even have an income tax, right? So, I mean, when you see people at that level, the governor level, leading like that, it really helps the legislature move that stuff forward. So there's still some issues in some of these states, including Idaho, where I think we need better leadership with a DOGE mindset at that top dog spot.
Yeah, well, I'll take a little bit of credit. After I wrote that piece in Breitbart, Ron DeSantis, I think 48 hours later, announced they're officially launching DOGE in Florida, which is great. So I'm very excited about that. But I think that, look, my hope in writing this piece was that you have certain states that step up and really drive it. Because, look, a lot of these red states, they're looking and they're kind of waiting on pressure points, right? Look at Texas. I guarantee you, let me make this prediction right here on Idaho Signal. Now that Ron DeSantis is pushing for property tax being abolished in the state of Florida, Greg Abbott will finally step up and all of a sudden have this great idea to do property tax reform in Texas. Something that Don Huffines, one of our favorite liberty legislators in Texas, has been screaming about for a decade. Now that DeSantis has done it, it's going to force these red states to still say, oh, of course, but you have to have somebody lead. It was just like COVID. If it wasn't for Florida, if it wasn't for South Dakota, we would all be in trouble. No offense to Idaho, but it wasn't Idaho that led during COVID, but they at least followed once these other states moved.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the DOGE, principle right now is which states are going to step up, which red states are going to lead by example, and then kind of force the others along. As we say, Matt, nothing moves in politics unless it's pushed. Well, sometimes you need a chainsaw, and we're seeing that right now with Elon Musk.
That's right. And as a state that prides itself in its timber industry, chainsaws are they're just sitting around waiting to be used. So we need to get aboard. Awesome, Cliff. All right. Well, where can people follow you? What's your final call to action for folks? Give us the details.
Yeah, you can follow me on X at Maloney. I encourage everybody, if you're in Pennsylvania specifically, that's one of our big programs at phase.com. If you're in Idaho, obviously get involved with our Citizens Alliance group that Matt leads. But really, it's just, run for local office, support local politicians that believe in the cause of liberty. Don't waste your time trying to build parties and trying to build these big federal races. We'll get there. But if you're just getting in, you're new to the game, focus on state legislative races. That's why Idaho Signal is great. Matt is in the weeds, talking, analyzing, keeping people accountable, putting on pressure to make sure that people know what's happening in Boise. But Matt, appreciate you. Follow me on X, everybody, at Maloney. and let's ride together, as Matt would say.
That's right, brother. We ride together. All right, Cliff, thanks for dropping by. We'll check in with you again soon.
See you now.
All right.